Hey guys, I'm Amelia Akins. I'm a senior at Pamlico County High School. I previously made a 26 on the ACT and I'm looking to retake it and make a 30. Today we're going to be talking about sentence fragments. So our first question is, what is a sentence fragment? A sentence fragment is a group of words that looks like a sentence but isn't, or otherwise known as an incomplete thought. So our example says, during the stressful test. This sentence is not complete because it's an independent clause, or it's a dependent clause. It doesn't have the rest of the sentence there, so it's incomplete. How to fix fragments. So using our previous example, in order to fix this fragment, you need to add words that would make it a complete thought. So we take our fragment, during the stressful test, put a comma, and add some details that would make it complete. So we fix the sentence by saying, during the stressful test, comma, Victor sneezed repeatedly, making it a complete thought. There's 6 types of fragments. There's subordinate clauses, participle phrases, infinitive phrases, afterthoughts, verb phrases, and appositives. A subordinate clause contains a subordinate conjunction, a verb, and a subject. So, for example, as his ex-girlfriend chased him down the interstate. The fragment contains a conjunction, a verb, and a subject, but is not a complete thought because it does not contain an action tied to the subject. Our solution to the fragment is, as his ex-girlfriend chased him down the interstate, Juan floored the accelerator, weaving through the heavy traffic. Participle phrases usually begin in ed or ing. They can oftentimes be fixed by adding a comma and rearranging the sentences around it. So our example of a participle phrase would be, Aunt Olivia always wears a motorcycle helmet, period, worrying that a meteor or a chunk of space debris will conk her on the head. Independently, these sentences are not complete, but by adding a comma and rearranging the order of the sentences, you can form a complete thought. So our solution would be, worrying that a meteor or a chunk of space debris will conk her on the head, Aunt Olivia always wears a motorcycle helmet. Our next phrase is going to be an infinitive phrase, which is a phrase that begins with to explain or to define. Oftentimes does not provide enough information to form a complete sentence. So our example is, to explain why he had brought Squeeze, his 7-foot pet python, to Miss Smith's English class. Our solution would be, bouncing his foot nervously, Jake sat in the principal's office to explain why he had brought Squeeze, his 7-foot pet python, to Miss Smith's English class. Afterthoughts often begin with words like including, for example, for instance. They introduce good details provided as an afterthought to previous information and are usually fixed with a comma linking the previous sentence to the fragment. Our example is, such as rolling his eyes, smirking, reading supermarket tabloids during lecture, folding handouts into paper airplanes, and drawing caricatures on his desk. So we would fix this by joining the previous sentence in the paragraph, making it, Jacob has several ways to annoy his instructors, such as rolling his eyes, smirking, reading supermarket tabloids during lecture, folding handouts into paper airplanes, and drawing caricatures on his desk. Verb phrases are phrases without a subject. They are usually fixed by joining 2 fragments with a comma or by adding a conjunction and joining the sentences together. Our example is, after dinner, Mike and Pat leave their dirty dishes on the back patio and let the raccoons, possums, and armadillos that visit the yard eat the leftovers. Independently, these are not complete sentences, but by joining the fragments together with a comma, the sentence can become a complete thought. So our solution would be, after dinner, Mike and Pat leave their dirty dishes on the back patio and let the raccoons, possums, and armadillos that visit the yard eat the leftovers. Our last example are apositives. An apositive is a word or group of words that renames a noun. This kind of fragment does not contain a main clause and is usually fixed by joining two fragments together with a comma. Our example is, when Daniel pulled into the driveway, Alex admired his flashy new car, a blue convertible with fancy rims and fuzzy dice hanging from the rearview mirror. Our fix to this would be taking out the period after car and adding a comma and making the capital A a lowercase a to join the sentences. So it'd be, when Daniel pulled into the driveway, Alex admired his flashy new car, a blue convertible with fancy rims and fuzzy dice hanging from the rearview mirror. For more help, you can practice, or you can ask any of your teachers for help, or go to usatestprep.com or prepfactory.com.